Hello everyone and welcome back. I am Dr. Soniyaa Shrivastava and this is Biology with Dr. Soniyaa Shrivastava. So far we have done MCQs on the headings 11.1 and 11.2, that is what is photosynthesis and the early experiments on photosynthesis. Today we will be starting headings 11.3 and 11.4, that is where does photosynthesis takes place and what all pigments are involved in photosynthesis. So let's start. Let's start with our first MCQ. Within the chloroplast, the membranous system is responsible for dash while the stroma is responsible for dash. Students, before we look at the option, first see the structure of chloroplast. This is the cross section of chloroplast. Chloroplast is present in the mesophyll of the leaf where photosynthesis takes place. Chloroplast has two important regions. First is membranous structure and the second one is fluid. Remember students, chloroplast has two major regions. First is membranous and second is fluid. The membranous structure consists of number 1, thylakoid, which is the disc or sac-like structure. Second is granum, which is the stacks of thylakoids. The thylakoids arranged one above the other is known as the stacks, and the two stacks of thylakoids are connected with stroma lamellae. These three structures are known as membranous structures, which consist of thylakoids, granum and stroma lamellae. Students, remember, these are the site where light energy is trapped and converted into ATP and NADPH. And surrounding these membrane is present what? Stroma, that is the fluid matrix. This is the stroma. Don't confuse with stroma lamellae. Stroma lamellae is the membranous structure while stroma is the fluid matrix. So in the stroma, what is happening? Stroma contains enzymes that uses ATP and NADPH to synthesize sugar. By fixing what? By fixing carbon dioxide. In a simple word, we say that grana catches the light while stroma makes the food. Let's see our options. Option number 1, ATP synthesis. We have seen that ATP synthesis occurs in membranous system and oxygen will also release in the membranous system, because when photosynthesis occurs, photolysis happens and it will release oxygen. So both the process occurs in membranous system, not in the stroma. So this option is wrong. Let's see option number 2, trapping light energy. Membranous system traps light energy and enzymatic sugar synthesis happens in stroma. So this is our correct option. Now let's see option number 3. These are reverse, students, because photolysis of water happens in membranous system and fixation of carbon dioxide occurs in stroma. So this is also a wrong option. Now option number 4. Again the locations are swapped because ATP and NADPH production occurs in membranous system and sugar synthesis occurs in stroma. So this option is also wrong. So our correct answer is option number 2. Now coming to MCQ number 2. Which of the following is not the part of membranous system of chloroplast? What is grana? Grana are the stacks of thylakoids. So this belongs to membranous system. Stroma lamellae, bridges connecting different grana. So this is also a part of membranous system. Thylakoid, thylakoids are the basic membrane structure or sacs that form grana. And this also belongs to membranous structure. So what is not the part of membranous system of chloroplast? Stroma, which is a fluid filled matrix surrounding the membranes. So this is our option. Moving on to MCQ number 3. Student, this is assertion reason based question. In the previous video, we have seen what is assertion and what is reason. What is assertion? The statement which makes claim or an action which states something very strongly. And what is reason? Reason provides evidence for that claim. What is the assertion given here? The dark reaction is a misnomer. Before coming to the option, let's see what is misnomer. What is misnomer? Wrong or misleading name. What is the assertion given in the question? The dark reaction is misnomer. Is it true? Yes, it's true. Why? Because these reactions do not occur necessarily only in the darkness. This statement is true. Now let's see our reason. These reactions are not directly light driven but are dependent on the products of light reactions. Is it true? Yes, it's true. Because these reactions depends on the products of light reactions. This statement is also true. Now we are checking the logic. Now ask yourself, why is the term dark reaction is a misnomer or misleading? Exactly because these reactions do not occur only in the darkness. These reactions depends on the products of light reactions. This is the reason which directly explains the assertion. Now coming to the options, both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. This is our right answer. Moving on to MCQ number 4. In a chloroplast cross section, the flat membranous tubules connecting the thylakoids of different grana are stroma, stroma lamellae, cristae or grana. Let's see our diagram first. As we have already discussed that the membranous system consists of thylakoids, granum and stroma lamellae. All these stacks of thylakoids are connected with each other and they are connected with thin membranous tubules known as stroma lamellae. Now coming to the option. First one is stroma. What is stroma? Stroma is a fluid-filled matrix. So this option is wrong. Cristae is the inner membrane of mitochondria. So this is also the wrong option. Grana is the stacks of thylakoids and the stacks of thylakoids are connected with flat membranous tubules. So this is our right answer. This is wrong. Moving on to MCQ number 5. Read the following statements regarding stroma. Number 1. It is the site for enzymatic reactions that synthesize sugar. Second, it contains the machinery for trapping light energy. Third, it is a fluid-filled matrix. Which are correct? Student, before coming to the options, let's revise our concept first. We know that chloroplast has two main regions. What are they? Membranous system and second one is fluid-filled matrix. And the membranous system consists of thylakoid. Second, stacks of thylakoids are grana and all the stacks of thylakoids are connected with each other by stroma lamellae. These three belongs to membranous system and fluid-filled matrix is known as stroma. The membranous systems are the site where light energy is trapped by pigments which converted it into ATP and NADPH. And the stroma contains enzymes which uses ATP and NADPH to synthesize sugar by fixing what? By fixing carbon dioxide. Now come to our options. Is stroma is the site for enzymatic reaction that synthesize sugar? Yes. True. It contains the machinery for trapping light. Is it correct? No. The membranous system traps light energy. So this is false. Statement number 1 is correct. Is stroma is a fluid film matrix? Yes, it's true. So this statement is also correct, except the second one. Now let's see our options. Which are correct? So our answer is this one. 1 and 3 is correct. That stroma is the site for enzymatic reaction that synthesize sugar, and it is a fluid filled matrix. Now let's see MCQ number 6. If a plant is kept in light but CO2 is removed, which part of the chloroplast will stop its primary function first? This question is testing your understanding of the division of labor in the chloroplast. Remember that the grana perform the light reaction while the stroma performs Calvin cycle, that is the dark reaction, where CO2 is fixed into sugars. If CO2 is suddenly removed, ask yourself, which department needs CO2 directly to do its job? Let's see our option first. Grana carry out the light reaction. They trap light to produce ATP and NADPH. These processes do not directly require CO2. So grana do not stop first. So this option is wrong. Option number 2. Stroma is the site of the Calvin cycle, means dark reaction, where CO2 is fixed into sugars. Without CO2, the enzyme in the stroma have no raw materials to work with, so its primary function stops first. Therefore, this is our answer. Option number 3. The thylakoid lumen. It is involved in the light reaction and proton accumulation. It is not directly dependent on CO2 availability. So this option is also wrong. Now option number 4. We know that the stroma lamellae are membrane connection between the grana. So they help organize the light reaction machinery and do not directly require CO2. So this option is also wrong. Now moving on to MCQ number 7. A leaf pigment separation using paper chromatography shows 4 distinct colors. Which of the following is correctly matched? This is very simple question. Let's see our chromatogram. The first one is blue-green. Blue-green belongs to chlorophyll A, and yellow-green belongs to chlorophyll B, and yellow is xanthophyll, and yellow-orange is carotenoid. These are the 4 photosynthetic pigments. In the options, what we have to tell? That which of the following is correctly matched. So see option number 1, chlorophyll A, its color is blue-green. So this option is wrong. Does chlorophyll B is correctly matched? No, its color is yellow-green. So this option is also wrong. Does xanthophyll have yellow color? Yes, xanthophyll have yellow color. So our option is xanthophyll. Xanthophyll and yellow color is correctly matched. And what about carotenoids? Carotenoid color is not blue, its color is yellow-orange. So it is not also correctly matched. So this option is also wrong. Let's see MCQ number 8. The graph showing the effectiveness of different wavelengths of light in stimulating photosynthesis is called absorption spectrum, action spectrum, emission spectrum, or reflection spectrum. Student, let's see our graph first. which is drawn between wavelength of light and rate of photosynthesis. And we measure rate of photosynthesis by oxygen release. Students, see these two peaks. One is blue peak, other is red peak. These two peaks are high and the green one is low. That means plant work hardest in the blue and red light, which means photosynthesis is most effective here in these two regions. Let's see our options. First is absorption spectrum. What do you mean by absorption? Absorption means how much light the pigment takes in. But taking in light is not enough. We need to know whether photosynthesis actually happen or not. So this option is wrong. Option number 3, emission spectrum. What do you mean by emission? Emission means light given out by the substance. But we know that plant only absorb light. So they do not glow like a bulb. So this option is also wrong. Now reflection spectrum. What do you mean by reflection? Reflection means light rejected by the plant. We know that plant reflect green light, which is why they look green. So this option is also wrong. Now coming to the action spectrum. Student, the word effectiveness is the key word. Effectiveness means the rate of work done. That means action. We know that the plant work hardest in the blue and the red light. That means photosynthesis is most effective there. Since the graph shows effectiveness or action, it is called the action spectrum. Moving on to MCQ number 9. Which pigment is identified as the chief pigment associated with photosynthesis? These are our options. But before that, let's see our concept. Students, leaves contain 4 types of pigments. What are they? Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, xanthophyll and carotenoid. These are the 4 pigments leaf contains. All of them can absorb light, but not all of them can directly drive photosynthesis. The pigment that actually forms the reaction center and initiates the conversion of light energy into chemical energy is called chief pigment. Now let's see our options. Option number 1, chlorophyll B. Chlorophyll B is an accessory pigment, means it is the helping pigment. It absorbs light and transfers the energy to chlorophyll A, but it cannot act as a reaction center. So this option is wrong. Xanthophylls is also an accessory pigment. They help absorb light and protect the photosynthetic machinery, but they are not the chief pigment. So this option is also wrong. What about carotenoids? Carotenoids are also an accessory pigment. It also helps in light absorption, but they do not serve as the reaction center. So this option is also wrong. Chlorophyll A is the primary photosynthetic pigment and forms the reaction center of both photosystems. It directly participates in the light reaction. Therefore, chlorophyll A is the chief pigment, and this is our answer. Moving on to MCQ number 10, which is assertion reason based. What is assertion given here? Accessory pigments enable a wider range of wavelengths of incoming light to be utilized for photosynthesis. What is reason given here? They protect chlorophyll A from photooxidation. Before coming to the options, let's see our concept. Student, accessory pigments perform 2 types of functions. What are they? First is antenna function. What do you mean by antenna function? It means accessory pigments absorb extra wavelength of light and pass the energy to chlorophyll A. As chlorophyll A cannot absorb all colors efficiently, so accessory pigments help capture more light colors. Second one is shield function. What do you mean by shield function? Shield function means accessory pigments protect chlorophyll A from damage caused by excess light. This is photooxidation. Means accessory pigments perform two types of function: antenna function, in which they absorb extra wavelength of light and pass the energy to chlorophyll A, and second is shield function, which means accessory pigments protect chlorophyll A from damage caused by excess light. Now these two statements are true, but the question here is, does reason explain the assertion? Because widening light range or extra wavelength is one function and protection is second function. They describe two different functions. So there is no link between assertion and reason. So coming to our options, these two statements are true, but the reason is not the correct explanation of A. Our answer is both the statements are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of A. Moving on to MCQ number 11. If a mutant plant lacks carotenoids, what is the most likely outcome when it is exposed to high intensity sunlight? First of all, see what is mutant. Mutation is the change in genetic material, DNA. A mutant plant is the one with altered genes, which can cause change in one or more trait or character of the plant. In this case, it says if a mutant plant lacks carotenoids, that means due to mutation, plant has lost the ability to synthesize carotenoids. These are our options, but before that, let's see our concept. Student, carotenoids are not only the colored pigments but also a plant's natural sunscreen or protective pigment. During photosynthesis, excess light energy can damage the chlorophyll molecules. So carotenoids, what carotenoids are doing? They absorb and safely dissipate. Dissipate means gradually disappear. They absorb and safely dissipate this extra energy and thus protecting the photosynthetic machinery from photooxidation. What is photooxidation? Photooxidation is of two types. In case of photosynthesis, it can be beneficial or it can be destructive. How? When the heat is normal, beneficial oxidation of chlorophyll by light energy is also called photolysis, driving the electron flow. But under the intense heat or excessive light energy, it causes breakdown of pigments due to oxidative stress. So if a plant loses its carotenoids and is exposed to intense sunlight, what do you think will happen? Our first option is increased sugar production. High light does not always mean more photosynthesis. Without carotenoids, plant cannot safely handle excess light energy. Instead of producing more sugar, plants suffer damage. So this option is wrong. Now see option number 3, faster water splitting. Faster water splitting occurs in photosystem too. But without carotenoids, the photosynthetic machinery becomes damaged under the strong light. So a damaged system cannot work faster. So this option is also wrong. Transformation into C4 plant. C4 photosynthesis depends on specialized anatomy and genetic adaptations. Losing a pigment cannot convert the plant into C4 plant. So this option is also wrong. Now coming to the destruction of chlorophyll A. Carotenoids act as a protective pigment. We have already seen that carotenoids are the plant's natural sunscreen. It acts as a protective pigment. Without carotenoids, chlorophyll A is exposed to photooxidative damage. So this is our answer. Now coming to question number 12. Why does the action spectrum of photosynthesis not perfectly overlap with the absorption spectrum of chlorophyll A? Statement 1 is chlorophyll A is the only pigment that absorbs light. Statement 2, accessory pigment also absorbs light and transfer energy to chlorophyll A. So which statement is correct? Let's see our graph. This is the two graph. The first one is action spectra of photosynthesis, which is called the rate of photosynthesis, and the other one is absorption spectra of chlorophyll. This is the action spectra of photosynthesis, and this is the absorption spectra of chlorophyll A. So question asks, why the action spectra of photosynthesis do not overlap the absorption spectra of chlorophyll A? Student, remember that the action spectra shows which wavelength are more effective for photosynthesis, while the absorption spectra of chlorophyll A shows only the wavelength absorbed by the chlorophyll A. If the chlorophyll A were the only pigment involved, both the graphs would match perfectly. But plants have helper pigments too. Let's test the statements. Statement number 1. Chlorophyll A is the only pigment that absorbs light. Is it correct? No. Besides chlorophyll A, plant also contain chlorophyll B, xanthophyll and carotenoid. So this statement is wrong. Statement number 2. Accessory pigments also absorbs light and transfer energy to chlorophyll A. Is this a correct statement? Yes, this is a correct statement. Accessory pigments capture wavelength that chlorophyll A absorbs poorly and transfer that energy to chlorophyll A. Let us again see our graph. Action spectra of photosynthesis do not overlap with the absorption spectra of chlorophyll A because other pigments are also present in between these. Only 2 is correct? Yes, this is our answer, because statement 2 is only correct in this case. Both. So students, we have completed the headings 11.3 and 11.4 from the chapter 11 photosynthesis by covering entire concept. Please download the MCQ sheet from the video's description. So today we have learned that photosynthesis is not happening randomly throughout the leaf. It takes place inside the specialized organelles called chloroplast. Apart from this, we have also discovered that chlorophyll pigment is not working alone, but accessory pigments are also involved in the process of photosynthesis. In the next section, we'll move one step closer to understanding how this pigment actually convert light energy into chemical energy. Until then, keep revising and keep practicing. See you in the next video.